Hey to all the spooks out there. Welcome back to another episode of Spine Chilling Chats, where every Wednesday we dig up the darkest corners of true crime, history, folklore, and the supernatural. I'm Ange.
And I'm Amanda.
Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a moment to talk about a very recent and tragic event that took place in Arkansas, which happens to be the state we're focusing on this month. I almost said this year. This month. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon. Clinton and Cristen Brink, a married couple in their early 40s, were hiking one of the many trails that snake through Devil's Den in northwest Arkansas. They weren't alone. Their two young daughters, just 7 and 9 years old, walked beside them, laughing, exploring, completely unaware that danger was lurking nearby. The Brinks had just moved from South Dakota to Prairie Grove. Excited to start a new chapter. The Brinks had just moved from South Dakota to Prairie Grove, Arkansas, excited to start a new chapter. This hike was supposed to be a family memory, not the last moments they'd spend together. Around 2:40 p.m., in a remote area with no cell signal, the family encountered someone on the trail, a man they didn't know. What happened next was sudden, brutal, and deeply senseless. In a matter of moments, Clinton and Cristen were attacked. According to police, Cristen somehow managed to get her daughters to safety first. Shielding them from the violence, she got them to a safe distance, then turned around and ran back to help her husband. She didn't make it out. It took hours before help arrived. The girls were found unharmed thanks to their mother's actions. But Clinton and Cristen were dead, murdered in broad daylight on a popular trail. The community was shaken, the park was shut down, and people asked the same terrifying question: who could do this? 4 days passed. Then the Arkansas State Police released a composite sketch: a man in a ball cap, sunglasses, fingerless gloves, and a black backpack. Fingerless gloves was the point of that? Yeah, I don't know.
Don't you want to have
Your fingers covered? Yeah, you would think.
Okay, idiot.
But obviously he's not the brightest.
Okay.
Witnesses had seen him leaving in a black sedan with tape covering the license plate. Behind the scenes, investigators were combing the crime scene for DNA, and they got a match. On July 30th, just 5 days after the murders, Andrew James McGann, a 28-year-old man from nearby Springdale, was arrested in a local barbershop. McGann was new in town. He had just been hired to teach in the Springdale school system, though luckily he hadn't yet stepped foot in a classroom. According to the police, the evidence was clear. DNA tied him directly to the crime scene. He confessed. A search of his home turned up damning evidence. He was charged with 2 counts of capital murder, and prosecutors may pursue the death penalty.
As they should.
There's no known motive, no prior connection to the Brinks, just a random, violent act that ended the lives of 2 people trying to enjoy a day with their kids. Clinton and Cristen Brink died protecting their daughters. Police and family have called them heroes, and rightfully so. Their girls, now orphaned, are with relatives, their lives forever changed by one horrific act in the woods. The trails at Devil's Den have reopened since the arrest, but the shadow of what happened there still lingers. For hikers, for locals, and especially for a family left broken by tragedy. We cover a lot of darkness on the show, but sometimes it's the senseless ones that haunt us the most. We'll keep you all updated when his trial happens and he's sentenced. So we'll keep a watch on this one. So, I mean, luckily they caught him quickly.
Yeah, and it literally just happened.
Just
This
happened.
is like breaking news type stuff. So it's not something that was years ago or whatever.
I had it written, and then just yesterday,
Or the day before.
was it the day before?
I think it might be the day before.
They caught him, so I had to re-edit everything.
Yeah. So
to
yeah,
include
like
that.
it's
just
recent.
now happening.
Yeah. So we'll keep you guys updated what's going on with that whole situation.
And it just so happened to be
in a state that we're
covering. Yeah, so we wanted to include it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel for those girls.
Yeah.
How and we just got back. Oh, I just hit the mic. We just got back from a camping trip in a state park. And when you're having a family vacation like that, or even if you're just spending the day there, you're not thinking about, oh, the person you're passing may try to kill you.
Right. Like what's lurking out there. You don't think about that. You just are there to enjoy.
Yeah, you're enjoying nature. You're, showing your kids little bugs you see, it's just, you don't know when your end is coming, and it's terrifying. It makes you not want to step outside.
Yeah. Well, even you're never even safe.
Yeah, I know. We've said that before. Mm-hmm.
So
it's sad. Well, and sadly, Arkansas has seen its share of darkness before. Back in 1987, during the week of Christmas, a man named Ronald Gene Simmons carried out one of the most horrifying spree killings in U.S. history, murdering 14 members of his own family.
Wow.
And then killing 2 more people and injuring several others.
14 of your own family?
Of his own family.
Yeah.
The level of violence and control he exercised is spine-chilling. Hey, spine-chilling. And the timeline of his crimes reads like a descent into madness.
Hold on. I just have to say this. We're twinsies, guys.
Oh.
We got matching rings.
Mine's on my middle, though.
I just think that's...
Mine's a little bit lighter of a purple.
Yeah, yours is. Okay. That's exciting stuff. And then I move that one to this ring finger. It feels weird because I don't wear rings. You know what I mean? So It feels so weird.
I only really wear this one every day.
Yeah.
I don't usually wear rings either. Trigger warning for sexual assault of a minor, incest of a minor, and murder, including that of children. Please take care while listening.
Incest and of a minor? Mm-hmm. Could you be any more disgusting?
Nope. Let's start at the beginning. On the 15th of July in 1940, Ronald Gene Simmons, who went by Gene, was born in Chicago.
Not to be mistaken for Gene
Simmons, yeah.
The singer, the artist, the rock band
Kiss
guy.
No, it's a completely different Gene Simmons.
Yeah. A gross one.
A gross one. I mean, Gene Simmons is a little gross too.
But not to be honest.
Yeah. Anybody with a tongue like that is a little gross.
You gotta be a little nasty.
Yeah. What you do with that tongue.
Dad. Plug your ears. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a virgin.
Yeah.
In case my dad's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure. So. Many sources stated that he... Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So Gene Simmons, who went by Gene, was born in Chicago, Illinois, to William and Loretta Simmons.
I like that.
Loretta? I have a Loretta on my team.
I like it.
I think she goes by Etta.
Oh, that's even cuter.
Mm-hmm. Many sources stated that he was their second son, but I could not locate the name or date or anything of the little brother. I'm not sure if maybe Loretta miscarried or if he died young, because back then, 1940s, 1930s,
or stillbirth or something.
Yeah, something like that. Or if he just didn't exist. I don't know. But I tried searching birth records for Cook County in Illinois from around 1930 to 1940 without any luck. So take it as you will. On February 4th, 1942, though, he did have a baby sister born named Nancy Ellen Simmons. Just almost a year later, on January 31st, 1943, their father had a stroke and unfortunately passed away. Jean's mother remarried within a year to a civil engineer with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers named William D. Griffin. Soon after they were married, the couple had another son named Peter. Jean's stepfather got transferred to Little Rock, Arkansas in 1946 and would spend the next decade relocating all across central Arkansas, including Pope County. Jean reportedly resented his stepfather, especially the moves and discipline that came with a military household, but military dads are strict.
Yeah. And since they always have to move, you can never really make friends. So really, your only friends are your family.
Yeah, it's hard.
So having to stick with somebody you don't like all the time and not being able to escape to a friend's house is hard.
Yeah. Not to mention, this is his stepdad.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some resentment there.
Oh, yeah.
Gene had become quite the bully by the age of 10. He often tormented his little sister and brother, which that's gonna, yeah, siblings are gonna bully one another. Like it's just a way of life. Many years later, Peter stated that Gene would inflict similar abuse on his own children. So it's obviously something he never outgrew. He had many anger issues and red flags that seemed to continue into his teenage years. A family member said that he would exploit any weaknesses he saw in you and would be violent towards animals, including striking the family cat over and over until it became aggressive. His sister-in-law described him as egocentric, quick to anger, and frequently put the blame on others instead of accepting responsibility. His parents tried to address his bad behavior, sending him to stay with friends of the family during the summer and enrolling him at the Morris School for Boys, which was a Catholic boarding school near Searcy. But none of this helped, and his bad behavior continued. On September 5th, 1975, at the age of 17, he dropped out of school and enlisted in the Navy. He wanted to be a seaman.
He was a seaman, which he would have stayed. He should have stayed a seaman. Your mama should have swallowed you, son.
Yep. He was stationed at a ship repair facility in Guam by November. He earned his GED during this time, which, it's good that he finished his schooling.
Yeah.
He didn't just
quit.
Yeah. In July of 1959, he was a yeoman, third class, and got assigned to the Naval Hospital at Naval Station Bremerton in Washington. I don't speak military, so I didn't know what that ranking meant, so I Googled that shit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. A yeoman, third class, is an enlisted rank in the U.S. Navy, specifically the fourth enlisted rank, and the lowest rank of non-commissioned officer. This rank, equivalent to a corporal in the Army and Marine Corps, requires both technical skills and administrative and clerical work, the yeoman rating, and proven leadership abilities. They are responsible for tasks such as managing files, handling correspondences, and supporting the administrative needs of a command. So he was an office secretary, it sounds like.
Pretty much.
He met Bersabe. I apologize, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Bersabe Rebecca, but she went by Becky Ulibarri at a USO dance at the Bremerton YMCA. On July 9th, 1960, the two got married in Raton, New Mexico, Over the next 18 years, they would have 7 children together.
God,
They were
dang.
busy. They were busy. Just 2 years later, on July 13th, 1962, which July 13th is my mother-in-law's birthday,
Oh,
but she was born in 1964. So she wasn't here yet. Gene left the Navy. He took a little break, and on January 30th, 1963, he joined the Air Force instead, which my brother was in the Air Force, and they're a lot cooler. It is what it is.
I mean, yeah. You gonna get wasted. Yours is 8%. Mine's 5%.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Amanda got us drinkies again. I got Truly Unruly.
Truly Unruly Tropical Twist, and I got Hard Mountain Dew. It's actually pretty good.
I don't like Mountain Dew. No, not at all. I haven't drank pop.
Oh,
in
long time.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
And I never liked Mountain Dew.
No?
No. Not even like the weird flavor ones.
Yeah, I don't like the other flavor. Traditional is good for me. Even though I'm a non-traditional person, traditional Mountain Dew is okay. I don't like the fancy red and blue and purple.
Yeah. Code red.
Yeah.
He was stationed at Langley Air Force Base, which is in Virginia. On October 24th of that year, Becky and Gene welcomed their first child, a daughter named Sheila. He got assigned to the AFOSI, which is the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, and in January of 1966 was promoted to staff sergeant. He was re-enlisted that following year and volunteered for a tour in Vietnam in return for a guarantee of a billet with AFOSI in Saigon, Vietnam. Before he was able to transfer to Saigon, he got assigned to the AFOSI Personnel Investigations Division. He landed in Tan Son Nhut Air Force Base on August 2nd, 1967. That base was a Republic of Vietnam Air Force facility located near the city of Saigon in southern Vietnam. He stayed in Vietnam until July of 1968, which included the Tet Offensive when Saigon was attacked. What's the Tet Offensive, you ask? The Tet Offensive was a major escalation and one of the largest military campaigns of the Vietnam War. The Viet Cong and North Vietnamese People's Army of Vietnam launched a surprise attack on January 30th, 1968, against the forces of the South Vietnamese. What?
You said Vietnamese.
Vietnamese.
Yeah, Vietnamese. And you said it right the first time, I think.
Against the force of South Vietnamese. Now you got me all self-conscious about it. Against the forces of the South Vietnamese Army of the Republic of Vietnam, the United States, and our allies. In April of 1976, after a 4-year stint in the UK, stationed at what? Shut up.
In the U of K.
In the U of a K.
U of a K. All right, sorry.
In April 1976, after a 4-year stint in the UK, stationed at RAF Alconbury, the Air Force Master Sergeant was assigned to the Space and Missile Systems Organization Observatory, high in the Sacramento Mountains, east of Alamogordo. The SAMSO, which is the Space and Missile Systems Organization Observatory, electro-optical research facility, focused its telescopes on Air Force communication satellites and detectors on high-flying aircraft. Located 32 miles from Holloman Air Force Base, the observatory was a semi-autonomous post with a personnel roster of 1 officer and 7 enlisted personnel, with Gene being the senior enlisted man. All had top security clearances. So he was a pretty big deal.
He graduated from being a secretary.
Yeah, he's not a secretary no more. In November of 1976, the Air Force announced that the observatory would be placed on caretaker status as soon as possible. As the staff numbers at the site decreased, Gene took on more responsibilities and ultimately was the last person to turn out the lights when the observatory was deactivated in June of 1978. After this, Gene was transferred to the 6,585th Test Group at Holloman Air Force Base near Alamogordo. Over his 20-year administrative specialist military career, Gene was awarded a Bronze Star Medal, not START Medal, a Bronze Star Medal, the Republic of Vietnam Gallantry Cross, and the Air Force Small Arms Expert Marksmanship Ribbon.
Oh, God, that's going to turn out to be a fucking shit show.
Foreshadowing. He finally retired from the Air Force on November 30th, 1979, with the final rank of Master Sergeant instead of being promoted again to Senior Master Sergeant, which would have required him extending his service obligation and transferring to Turkey. His service record was perfect. His performance marks were often exemplary. His career, though, had been primarily clerical in nature, no actual combat. On May 5th, 1981, Gene began working as a GS-4 civil service employee at Holloman Air Force Base. Now retired, he had time to focus on other things, like controlling his wife and family. Becky confided in her sister that Gene's mother had warned her about his temper and his need to dominate those close to him. And this is a quote. "She was always trying to tell me what Gene was like," Becky told her sister, "but I didn't listen." He made Becky stop wearing makeup and keep her hair tied back. She was not allowed to get a driver's license or use the phone. He took care of things like handling the bills and getting groceries. She was only allowed to write to her family, but he later even denied her of that by not supplying her with stamps. She was forced to have others mail her letters in secrecy. He censored all the family's mail and required Becky to wear long dresses. Becky's sister later stated, quote, "Becky was not stupid by any means, but she was insecure. Ronald made her believe that things were her fault, that she deserved what she got. He cut her off from all of us, and now he's gone crazy. He wouldn't let her have a telephone, and he'd stand there if she ever made any calls from somewhere else." End quote. They lived on a 2-acre property in Wills Canyon, New Mexico from 1976 to 1981. In 1981, Gene became the focus of a child abuse investigation after allegations surfaced that he had impregnated his 17-year-old daughter, Sheila. An anonymous tip was sent to social services on April 17th of that year. According to then District Attorney Stephen Sanders, Gene's son later admitted that he was the one who made the report. He contacted authorities twice more over the following 3 days, still choosing to remain unnamed. Friends of Sheila and school personnel who had heard disturbing details also alerted authorities. On April 20th, a social worker visited the Simmons residence in Cloudcroft to look into the rumors. During a private conversation, Sheila confirmed she was pregnant and that the father was Gene.
Mm-hmm.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
That's sad and disgusting.
It's very disgusting. Like, I can't even imagine.
No. Ooh.
The next day, the local prosecutor's office was informed. Gene, under threat of legal action, eventually agreed to enter a psychological counseling program that included the entire family. Authorities reported that the abuse first took place in July of 1980, during a stop in Phoenix when Gene and Sheila were en route to California for a coin collecting convention. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah. Coin collecting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how she contained her excitement.
While Gene was deeply invested in coin collecting, Sheila only pretended to share his interest to please him. According to investigators, at least 2 more incidents occurred that September. Sheila realized she was pregnant in March of 1981 and gave birth to a daughter, Sylvia, on June 17th, 1981.
That's a long time to be pregnant and not know.
Yeah, because she was already 5 months, something like that. A New Mexico Social Services report from June 1981 reveals that efforts were made to obtain legal custody of Gene's daughters after he insisted that the child he fathered with Sheila would be raised by the family. The report requested the district attorney pursue court-ordered custody, but Sanders later stated that a subordinate failed to inform him of the request.
I'm sitting on Daddy Grandpa's lap.
That's so
I'm sitting on Grandpa Daddy's lap.
Grandpa Daddy.
Ugh. I'm sitting on Papa Daddy's lap.
Well, and I don't understand why he wasn't just immediately put in jail.
That too.
Why are we going through counseling and shit?
She's 17.
Why isn't he just...
And wasn't incest? Isn't incest illegal?
I believe so. I would hope so.
God.
The Simmons family attended counseling sessions for 5 weeks that year, but stopped once the attorney advised Gene that any disclosures made during therapy could be used in court. After counseling ended, the criminal investigation resumed. On June 19th, the DA's office forwarded the case to the sheriff. Deputy Jeff Farmer visited the Simmons residence on June 20th when he spoke to both Sheila and her mother, Becky. Sheila declined to provide a statement. A few weeks later, Farmer spoke to local school principal Everett Bannister, who noted that he delivered assignments to Sheila's home so she could complete her exams. He described Gene as odd and recalled seeing Sheila and Gene writing together, so physically close it resembled a romantic relationship rather than father-daughter one. Ew. Other community members reportedly made similar observations. And, I don't blame her for going along with it because, 17, you're a kid. But how nasty to be public about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's scared, to say anything because he's so demanding and controlling and domineering. I'm sure she's scared to say, no, I'm not going to sit by you, or no, you can't do that,
Ugh. Farmer's inquiry concluded on July 11th after meeting with Gene Jr., who declined to comment further on the incest allegations, stating that his mother and sister had asked him not to speak about it. He did say the family was satisfied with the counseling they had received. Sheila initially refused to cooperate with investigators or appear before a grand jury, only agreeing after Sanders threatened her with contempt of court. She eventually testified on August 10th, stating that her father had been intimate with her on 3 occasions. It was more than that.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the odds of you getting pregnant in 3 instances. I mean, I know it can happen, but...
I was going to say, happen. But I'm sure.
The odds aren't...
Yeah, well, and I'm sure it's been happening for a while.
Sanders described the testimony as emotional and reluctant, saying she broke down in tears and expressed that she didn't want her father to go to prison. Her statements led to formal charges and a warrant for Gene's arrest. On August 11th, 1981, just 2 months after Sheila gave birth, Gene was officially charged in New Mexico's 12th Judicial District with 3 counts of incest related to incidents from September of 1980 Each charge carried a potential 3-year sentence, totaling 9 years. That seems very, lenient
Wow.
for impregnating your daughter.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. When deputies arrived at the Simmons property that day to serve the warrant, they discovered the family had abruptly moved out.
How convenient.
Shortly after, Abe DeLeon, the county manager for New Mexico Human Services, received an anonymous call reporting that the Simmons family had relocated to the Little Rock, Arkansas area.
Hold on. Did you hear about the little boy who was in custody of the Department of Human Resources and he died? Because the I forget what they call him. The caseworker who was in charge of that kid had him in the car taking him somewhere to or from custody, a visitation.
Uh-huh.
And she stopped somewhere and left him in the hot car and he died. Like, you are Department of Human Resources. You take kids away from people all the time that leave them in the car, and then you left somebody else's child in a car and he died. Like, it just happened 2-3 weeks ago.
I hope she's in prison.
I hope so. I know for sure she got fired.
Well, there should be more than that.
I'm sure they're pressing charges, but like, how fucking stupid. She didn't even remember the kid was in the car.
How do you not remember?
Mm-hmm. And he wasn't an infant. It was probably like a 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old. I can't remember, but he was definitely between the ages of 3 and 6. So it's not like he was back there being quiet like an infant.
Yeah. That's sad.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry. I just had to go on a rant because I saw human services.
De Leon sent a protective services alert to Arkansas officials on March 17th, 1982. Walt Patterson, then Deputy Director of Arkansas Human Services, explained that the agency could not act solely on a warning from out of state and that law enforcement, particularly those tracking military pensions, should have been involved. Sanders later recalled speaking to Ronald Jr. again in mid-1982. Ronald Jr. claimed not to know his father's location, but suggested he might be able to get Gene to return if the charges were dropped. I know, right? On August 10th, 1982, 1 year after the initial charges, the incest case was conditionally dismissed due to the family's disappearance and Sheila's unwillingness to continue cooperating. The dismissal included a clause allowing charges to be refiled if Gene was later apprehended. However, with the dismissal came the cancellation of the arrest warrant and the removal of his record from the FBI's national database, essentially erasing his trace from law enforcement systems.
Of course.
That's a fucking dumb.
Of course.
How can they let this happen?
How did they let the other ones happen and then they turn into serial killers? Like, you fucking knew he murdered somebody, you arrested him, somehow he got off on doing a year sentence.
Yeah, bullshit.
And then he goes back on to fucking
murder 20 more people. Yeah.
You know, like, fucking let me be the law enforcement, damn it.
We'll sort them out.
You looked at me wrong, jail for life. Don't even try to play.
Fearing the consequences of criminal charges, Gene left New Mexico with his family and relocated to Ward, Arkansas. Beginning on September 30th, 1981, he took a temporary job as a filing clerk in the medical records department at the John L. McClellan Memorial Veterans Hospital in North Little Rock. A few months later, on January 10th, 1982, he secured a more permanent position as the personnel clerk with the 5th Army Medical Recruiting Battalion in Little Rock. By this time, Gene's family dynamics were unraveling. His son, Gene Jr., opted to stay behind in New Mexico rather than move to Arkansas. choosing instead to remain close to his friends. Gene's wife, Becky, no longer shared a bed with him following the incest allegations. Good for her.
Good.
But I feel like,
Then that only makes him want the kids more.
well, no, but why are you staying with him?
Yeah.
He fathered a child with your baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you stay? But even if she stayed, that's only going to make him be like, well, fuck you then. I have my daughters.
No.
So it's a lose-lose situation.
No, you leave and you take your babies with you.
Yeah. But she was scared and she was, what did she say? She was insecure.
I don't care. If Robbie ever
I'd kill him.
did anything inappropriate, he'd be dead.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be dead in a heartbeat. And I don't care.
I'd kill him. Plain and simple. I don't care if my baby is an orphan. You touch my baby, you're dead. And I will go to jail for that. And yeah, it sucks. I'd have to grow up without my kid has to grow up without me. But at the same time, I'm doing what I can to protect him. So continue to let him get hurt or kill the bastard or bitch.
I probably wouldn't kill him, but I'd send him to prison forever.
I'd fucking beat him up. Then I'd send him to prison,
Yeah.
or I'd kill him. One of the two.
I don't think I could actually kill somebody, but I would definitely not still live with him and
sleep in a different
room and allow my children to be around him. And
yeah, for sure.
While the family lived in Ward, Gene impregnated Sheila again.
Oh my God.
But this pregnancy ended in an abortion, reportedly performed in early 1983 by Dr. Chu E. Tan in Dermot, Arkansas. On June 12, 1983, Gene bought a small rural property too far from Little Rock for daily commuting. The family moved onto a 14-acre parcel in Pope County, roughly 6.5 miles north of Dover, and named their new home Mockingbird Hill. He resigned from his job at the recruiting office on August 5th that same year. According to those close to the family, part of Gene's motivation for relocating was his disapproval of Sheila's budding relationship with Dennis McNulty, a young man she had met earlier that year. Sheila had been attending Strawn School of Business, located near Gene's workplace, where she was taking secretarial courses. Dennis, who studied radio communications, met Sheila at the school's snack bar. It was love at first bite.
Oh.
Even after the move, Dennis regularly drove over 80 miles each way to continue seeing her. The Simmons, okay, now does he know that her kid is her daddy's kid? Sister mommy?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I if it were me, I probably would hide that fact. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Ugh. The Simmons property sat a quarter mile east of Arkansas Highway 7 on a ridge alongside Broomfield Road in Pleasant Grove, a sparsely populated area at the time, with only a church, a small store, a cemetery, and a nearby campground. 2 days after settling in, Gene installed a no trespassing sign and soon after added a barbed wire fence. The family lived in a 5-bedroom mobile home.
That's big.
With 2 rooms added under an extended roof. Though the living room had a fireplace, the other areas were cramped. The house, it might sound big, but how little are those rooms?
Yeah.
The house lacked working heat and air conditioning, except for one window unit, and the toilet was broken, forcing the family to rely on outhouses.
So what he really did was he built a compound.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
A cult compound.
Gene refused to connect the phone line, preventing the family from making or receiving calls without his control. He also had them erect a tall privacy fence around the house, some sections reaching 10 feet high. That's high. Just weeks before Christmas, Gene directed the family to dig a new outdoor latrine pit, which would later become the burial site for several victims. Meanwhile, Gene Jr., who was reconciling with his estranged wife, Wilma, arranged for their 3-year-old daughter, Barbara, to temporarily live with his parents until he and Wilma could afford housing. Now, why would you bring your baby there?
No, thank you.
You know what your daddy was like. You know he impregnated your sister, and you're going to bring your little daughter into that house? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I will be homeless before I would let my kid go live with somebody who I knew was molesting somebody.
Your sister, yeah. That's fucked up. Gene Jr. arrived at Mockingbird Hill on December 21st, 1987. December 21st is my mommy's birthday. Wilma remained in New Mexico for the holidays due to financial limitations. They should all just stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Gene, even among his own family, remained withdrawn and reclusive. According to Edith Nesby, Becky's sister, Gene kept his bedroom strictly off limits to everyone, even Becky, locking the door whether he was home or away. He was frequently described as cold, unsmiling, and intimidating, with a controlling presence. He made his children haul heavy 5-gallon buckets of dirt to maintain the steep driveway. One of his daughters, Loretta, then 17, once referred to him as a drunken bum to a friend. That same friend who occasionally stayed overnight. Again,
it's public knowledge that he did this to his daughter. It's not a secret. So why would you let your daughter go stay the night over there?
I don't know. Who stayed the night recalled Gene always drinking, spending most of his time in a foul-smelling, dark room no one else was allowed to enter, the only room with a lock on the inside. In Polk County, Gene cycled through a series of low-wage jobs. He worked as an industrial cleaner at a pickle factory in Atkins, then as a processor at a frozen food facility in Russellville, and later as a part-time clerk during weekend night shifts at a Sinclair Mini Mart. From January 1985 to November 19, 1986, he worked as an accounts clerk at the Woodline Motor Freight, where he made collection calls and processed payments. His supervisor, Robert Wood, said Gene left the company after failing to meet performance expectations. His immediate supervisor there, Joyce Butts, who was later one of his victims, and co-worker Kathy Kendrick, whom he also murdered, had reportedly rejected his romantic advances. Gene quit his job at the Mini Mart just days before the murders, on December 18, 1987, after more than 3 years of working weekend nights. By that time, only 6 family members remained at the residence. Gene Jr. had moved out years earlier, marrying Wilma Sue Pitts in Alamogordo on February 28, 1984. February 28th, that's Anna's birthday.
Oh.
This has all my family in it.
I know, Jesus.
Well, when you have that many,
it's hard
you're likely to hit somebody. Sheila married Dennis McNulty on August 11th, 1984, taking her daughter Sylvia to live with her in Camden. William, another of Gene's sons, moved out after becoming a shift manager at Hardee's in Russellville in 1984 and married Renata May in October 1985. I don't see how our Hardee's is still open.
I know. They revamped it 3 times now.
I have never seen anybody there.
I know, but I was just thinking, man, Hardee's sounds good. I'm hungry.
You know, they had this one chicken teriyaki sandwich like a decade ago, and it was so good. It was a chicken patty, and I had like barbecue sauce. Oh, I guess teriyaki sauce, and then like a pineapple on it.
Oh,
it was really good.
That sounds good.
They should bring that back. I would go there again if they did. I stopped going there because when you would go in the building, it smelled like sewage.
Oh, see, I never really went in.
Yeah, it was gross and it's off-putting.
Yeah. I just stopped going there because the line was always ridiculously long and I didn't want to wait.
Now there's never anybody
No.
there, which makes you also not want to go there because
Right,
you're
'cause
like,
like, what's
why?
wrong?
Why doesn't anybody eat there? They eventually moved to Fordice.
Fortis. That's
Fordice.
what I would say.
Loretta, the fourth oldest child, was a high achieving senior at Dover High School and openly expressed her eagerness to leave home as soon as she graduated. Becky Simmons had sent Christmas cards, each with a letter enclosed, to her siblings. Her sister, Edith Nesby, said she was very happy. Her whole family was coming to see her. She was to have all her children and grandchildren with her during the Christmas holiday. Gene's horrific killing spree unfolded in 3 distinct stages. The first 2 took place at his home near Dover, Arkansas, and the final phase occurred in Russellville on the Monday after Christmas. So the home murders. Investigators later determined that in the weeks leading up to Christmas of 1987, Gene had made a deliberate decision to eliminate his entire immediate family. He knew they'd all be together for the holiday, a rare opportunity. In preparation, he had instructed his children to dig a large hole in the yard under the pretense that it would be used for a new outhouse.
Why not just fix the toilet? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Toilets aren't that hard.
No.
Like, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So why was he? I know his ulterior motive was not for a new outhouse. But like, why dig an outhouse when you could just just get a new fucking toilet?
Yeah.
I don't get it. But anyway.
On December 22nd, 1987, that morning, Gene murdered his wife, Becky, and his oldest son, also named Gene. He bludgeoned them and shot them with a .22 caliber pistol. He then strangled his 3-year-old granddaughter, Barbara. Their bodies were placed in the pit previously dug by the children. Later that day, when his other children, Loretta, who was 17, Eddie, who was 14, Marianne, who was 11, and little Becky, who was 8, arrived home from school, Gene methodically killed each of them. Authorities believe they were separated, strangled, and possibly drowned in a barrel filled with water he had set up in the bathroom. Their bodies joined the others in the burial pit. All 4 were still dressed in school clothes. Eddie had a lunch ticket in his pocket, and one of the girls still had gum in her mouth. Autopsy findings suggest that Loretta may have tried to fight back. She had facial injuries, and her watch and an earring were broken. With the household members dead, Gene spent the next few days drinking and violently damaging the walls of the home, leaving holes in the drywall. December 26, 1987. At midday, extended family began arriving for the holiday gathering Gene had arranged. It would be the first time in years the entire family had come together. He began by shooting and killing his son Billy and Billy's wife Renata. Their 20-month-old son, Trey, was then strangled and drowned. Gene continued the spree by killing his eldest daughter, Sheila, whom he had previously sexually abused, and her husband, Dennis. He then strangled Sheila's daughter, 7-year-old Sylvia, and murdered their infant son, 21-month-old Michael, inside the home. Gene arranged the bodies in rows in the living room. Most were covered with coats. Sheila, however, was draped with his wife's best tablecloth.
Because that's his favorite.
Yep. The 2 youngest victims, Trey and Michael, were wrapped in plastic and placed in abandoned vehicles at the end of the driveway. Why?
Why would you not try to hide their bodies too? Anybody can walk by a vehicle and either smell the decomposition or
why remove them from they're all lined up in the living room, and he's just covering them with coats. Why would he move the kids? Maybe it's too hard to look at them.
Maybe.
But what about your daughter? Like,
He covered her in a fancy tablecloth.
Well, not that one, the little one.
Oh,
the 7-year-old.
The 7-year-old.
Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense.
No.
Some of the victims had been shot multiple times. As many as 7 bullets were found in several of the adult bodies. Later that evening, Gene drove to a Sears store in Russellville to pick up Christmas presents he had ordered. He then visited a local private club, North 40, for a couple of drinks before returning home. It was a dry county, so you had to be a part of a private club to drink.
Okay.
The Russellville shootings. December 28th, 1987, on the Monday following Christmas, Gene penned a brief letter and enclosed $250. He addressed it to his mother-in-law, May Novak, writing, this is what it said, "Dear Ma, sometimes you reap many more times what you sow. This is just a little token of our appreciation. Keep it in remembrance of us. Love, Gene." He also sent similar letters and money to 2 nieces, all postmarked that morning. Armed with 2 .22 caliber revolvers, Gene drove a Toyota Corolla, his eldest son's car, into Russellville. He had clearly mapped out his plan in advance. His first stop, the law office. Gene entered the Peel, Eddy, and Gibbons law firm and shot Kathy Kendrick, a former co-worker he had once been obsessed with, in the head. She died shortly after at the hospital. The second stop was the oil company. Avoiding the main road, Gene drove to an oil company where he had previously worked. He shot and wounded the owner, Rusty Taylor, and fatally shot a delivery driver, James Chaffin, who had no connection to Gene. A clerk narrowly escaped being shot and later provided a description of him and his car to authorities. The third stop, convenience store. Gene then went to the Sinclair Mini Mart, another former workplace. There he shot the owner, David Salyer, in the forehead and also shot employee Roberta Woolery in the jaw. A customer threw soda cans at Gene to distract him. The final stop, the freight company. His last stop was the Woodline Motor Freight office where he shot his former supervisor, Joyce Butts, in the head and chest. She survived but required open heart surgery and was left partially paralyzed. After the shooting, Gene forced an employee named Vicki Jackson to call the police. Following his arrest, Gene remained unresponsive in his jail cell, lying quietly with his face turned to the wall. At a probable cause hearing, he refused to speak, acknowledge questions, or show any reaction. Frustrated by his silence, the judge ordered him held without bond and appointed 2 local attorneys to represent him. Authorities officially charged him with 2 counts of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder for the shootings in Russellville. The following day, the local prosecutor confirmed he would pursue the death penalty if Gene was convicted. He also stated that additional charges would be filed in connection with the 14 family members found dead at Gene's home. The FBI joined the investigation shortly after to assist with locating out-of-state witnesses and conducting background checks. Meanwhile, authorities sealed Gene's safe deposit box, learning that he had accessed it multiple times during the holiday period. On January 15, 1988, Gene was formally charged with 2 additional counts of capital murder, one for the 7 family members killed before Christmas and another for those murdered on December 26. Ballistics testing linked the .22 caliber pistol and surrendered to 5 of those killings, confirming their connection to the same weapon. Despite an outstanding incest warrant in New Mexico from years earlier, Gene had passed background check in 1982 when he was hired as a clerk for a military recruiting office in Little Rock. Well, because it said that they basically erased his record. So
Yeah.
on the afternoon of December 28th, after Gene had been taken into custody and refused to speak about his family, the sheriff decided an emergency search of the home was justified. When asked about his family, Gene had briefly shown emotion. His eyes teared up and his lips quivered, prompting further concern. Deputies arrived at the residence in Dover and, unable to enter through the locked sliding glass door, climbed in through an unlocked window. Inside, they found 5 bodies, adults and children alike, still wearing coats, suggesting they had been killed upon arrival. Investigators documented the scene using a borrowed video camera, carefully entering each room. Gene's room was locked and had to be forced open. It stood out from the rest of the house. It was the only room with air conditioning. What a fucker. And had shelves of books, imported beer, and gourmet food that he had hoarded for himself. What a fucking disgusting human being.
Yeah, I thought the air conditioner was like in the living room.
Yeah, no. So he's just hanging out there, eating, drinking, nice and cool.
Well, the rest of the family suffered.
Yeah. The electricity had been shut off, and unopened Christmas presents were still under the tree and hidden in closets, indicating that some of the victims had been dead for days. By sundown, the bodies were being removed from the house in body bags, but the search wasn't over. Several family members were still missing. The following day, 7 more bodies were found in a shallow grave about 150 feet from the house. The burial site had been concealed with freshly turned dirt and measured just over 6 feet long and a little more than 3 feet wide. The first body was found only 2 feet below the surface. Investigators also found the bodies of young children in 2 abandoned cars on the property. In total, 14 bodies were recovered. 6 of the victims had been shot, while 8 were strangled, most using fishing stringers. Parts of the interior walls and ceilings of the home had been bashed in with what was believed to be a metal tool. Gene later admitted to his attorney that he had used a hammer. Autopsies confirmed that 8 of the victims had been strangled and 6 more were shot multiple times, mostly in the head. Gene's wife had 2 gunshot wounds in the head. His eldest son had 5 gunshot wounds, including 1 in the abdomen. His daughter Sheila, her husband Dennis, and others had also been shot in the head. Several victims still had cords around their necks when found. Further testing in early January revealed that the same .22 caliber pistol used to kill 2 victims in Russellville had also been used to murder Sheila. A ballistics expert confirmed in May that bullets recovered from the crime scenes matched the revolver Gene surrendered during the arrest. At trial, a medical examiner testified that all adult victims had been shot while younger children had been strangled. I've come to do what I wanted to do. It's all over now. I've gotten everybody who wanted to hurt me.
Excuse me?
That's what he said.
Everybody who wanted to hurt him? Meanwhile, he's the molester, he's the stalker, he's the one obsessed with people, and he's the one coming on to people who are not interested, but they hurt him?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, narcissist much?
For real. Police Chief Herb Johnson confronted Gene unarmed. Gene surrendered calmly, placing one revolver in a paper bag and handing over the other. Ballistics tests later confirmed the weapon had been used in the family killings. When asked why he hadn't taken his own life, Gene replies that he was afraid he'd do it wrong and be left disabled. How horrible would that have been?
How selfish is that? I don't want to be disabled, so I'm just not going to kill myself. Fuck you, dude.
His attorney would later reveal that Gene had always intended to die, either by his own hand or in a confrontation with police, but lost his nerve.
Yeah, I was going to say, but cowardly.
cowardly, cowardly. I don't know.
Yeah, right? I don't know. He handed over the gun without cause or anything.
Despite his military background, he had confessed he wasn't comfortable handling guns and doubted his ability to end his own life effectively. But he had a ribbon for marksmanship.
Right.
Obviously,
and he clearly just shot his family in the head, so he knows where to shoot to kill them. Put that in the same spot.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
It's even easier. You can feel it, okay?
Idiot.
After remanding him without bond, the court sent Gene to a state psychiatric facility in Little Rock for an emergency evaluation. Despite admission delays, because he was facing capital charges. After 60 days of testing, doctors declared him mentally fit to stand trial. He was diagnosed with personality disorder featuring narcissistic and paranoid traits, but ruled legally sane at the time of the killings. With those findings accepted, it was confirmed he would be tried. A trial date was scheduled for May 9th, 1988. Gene was tried in Franklin County for the Russellville shooting spree. He pled not guilty to multiple capital murder, attempted murder, and kidnapping charges. Kidnapping charges? Oh, probably from moving to the state with his children after
because
the
he
incest.
disappeared.
Yeah. Requesting a prompt trial. His legal team was court appointed. The jury, 2/3 men, was selected, and after a prosecution witnesses tied Gene to the shootings through testimony and ballistics, he was convicted on May 12th. The jury quickly sentenced him to death, plus decades in prison for additional charges. Gene expressed he wanted no appeals, citing the jury's verdict as just and requested execution occur swiftly.
I would hope so, because why sentence him to death after having him serve 10 decades? Like, I can just kill him.
Yeah.
Why keep him alive just to serve the decades and then kill him? No, just fucking get rid of him.
In early 1989, Gene faced a second trial for murdering his 14 relatives. The court upheld that he could waive appeals since he was deemed competent. His attorneys chose not to present a defense. A jury in Johnson County convicted him and again handed down the death sentence by lethal injection. Following legal motions, the Arkansas Supreme Court and eventually the U.S. Supreme Court addressed whether a third party should be allowed to override his waiver of appeals. They concluded that he had standing to waive and fully understood his decision. Gene consistently refused appeals, stating that living the rest of his life in prison would be crueler than death. Then maybe we should have done that. I want him to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, he's wanting death.
If you want to die, then you can stay alive. But if you want to stay alive, then you die.
He publicly declared he wanted no legal interference delaying execution. Formal hearings confirmed his waiver was made knowingly and voluntarily. Opponents attempted to intervene, including a religious advocate filing a petition, but courts ruled he must act for himself. Gene's refusal became pivotal in Whitmore versus Arkansas, a Supreme Court case that upheld the concept that a defendant can relinquish the right to appeal if proven competent. Gene was transferred to death row at the state prison in Jefferson County. In May 1990, an execution warrant was signed by Arkansas's governor for June 25th. Gene had consistently rejected visitors and spiritual contact, made no final requests or burial instructions. On the evening of June 25th, 1990, he was executed by lethal injection, Arkansas's first such execution. He remained motionless, blinking but otherwise calm. After initial signs of distress, he became still and was pronounced dead at 9:19 p.m. His words minutes earlier, "Justice delayed finally being done, is justifiable homicide." reflected his acceptance of his fate.
At least he didn't sit. I mean, this is how me personally, I feel like this is how all death row inmates should be killed. He got the orders in May and was killed in June.
Yeah.
Like, it should be that quick. Don't let them sit there for 10, 20, 30, 40 years and then get executed. They pretty much lived their whole fucking life.
Well, you have to give them a chance to appeal, because there are sometimes wrongly convicted people. So you have to at least give them the chance.
But even after appeal, they still sit on death row for their whole fucking life.
Yeah,
really dying of natural causes instead of the actual fucking intention of the way they were supposed to die.
Yeah. He was buried in a state cemetery near the prison with minimal family attendance. I'm surprised any family.
I was going to say that.
Is there any left? His execution marked one of the shortest intervals between sentencing and execution in modern U.S. capital punishment era.
I mean, I could see that. But yeah, what a fucking piece of shit. He's not even a piece of shit. He's a piece of dog fucking shit.
I just, from start to finish, it's like, man.
Wow. Yeah.
Welcome to Arkansas.
We're not. I mean, I guess the incest fits in. I'm just kidding. Don't.
Yeah.
It was a joke.
That is a stereotype, though.
Yeah. But wow, what a piece of shit.
I know.
And I'm glad that he got executed, even though that's what he wanted. But like, instead of sitting on death row for decades and years, whatever. Like,
I just don't understand how people were still just being around him after knowing what he did to Sheila. Why are you still being around this man? I understand that victims of abuse, they have a hard time leaving. I get, but when it's get help, go to a homeless shelter, go to the police, go to somebody. They will help you. They will find a way to get you away from that situation.
And her sister, Becky's sister, knew something was wrong and knew that that's how he was. I'm sure she would have helped them out.
His own mother warned Becky about him. Yeah. I mean, when a man's mother is warning you that he's
not good,
he's violent, and you
should probably take heed to that warning.
Like, you should believe it. Because most mamas are going to be like, oh, my son's the best.
My baby.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
If she's telling you her son's a piece of shit, believe her.
Yep.
And I just feel so bad for Gene Jr., like, bringing your child, that you should just stayed with your estranged wife. And then you guys could have lived. It's so sad.
Yep.
So sad. But that was our introductory to Arkansas. We're going to spend a whole month here. So I'm a little nervous about what else we're going to dig up.
I can spoil the surprise. I have a serial killer, of course. And I have Bigfoot.
Yay!
Yes. So the next one will be Bigfoot. We'll do a light episode. After that heavy one. We'll do Bigfoot for the next one.
And then my next one will be something not true crime.
And then mine will be serial killer.
So we'll wrap it up that way. Yep. So keep tuning in. We'll see what Arkansas has for us.
Yes. So on that note,
check out our Facebook, our TikTok, our Instagram, our YouTube. If you're just listening to us on the many podcast platforms we are on, check us out on YouTube, because we're in video form. You can see
our beautiful faces.
Yes. I mean,
who doesn't want to look at this?
I know. I did my makeup for you guys.
Come on now. I still have nap hair. Sorry about that. But I did put on makeup.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
If you have any ghost stories, any glitches in the Matrix,
very fucking.
If you've seen Bigfoot and you've seen his big foot, let us know just how big it is. We're interested.
Yes. Just for research and science purposes. Only.
It's purely
educational.
That's not what is it? That's not what
I know that's not what I'm trying to say.
It's purely academic.
So
it's purely academic.
Just research.
Yeah. We're just, curious.
So anyway.
So send those in to our email account, which is spinechillingchatspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can go onto our website, which is www.spine-chillingchatspodcast.com, and you can submit them directly there.
Where you can also find
our links to other episodes, old episodes. You can read our bio, see our ghosty photo shoot, witchy photo shoot that Caitlin did for us. And we have a link to our merch shop where you can buy some Bigfoot merch. We got Bigfoot, we got aliens, we got crime scene chalk outlines, we got ghosties. We got everything.
Of stuff.
Yeah, it's all really cool.
Stuff for your grandmas, you, your dad, your husband, your girlfriends, boyfriends, kids, all of it.
All of it. Yeah. So check it out. Buy some stuff. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Get us out there. We wanna grow. We wanna reach every corner of the world.
Yes, because the world is flat. So we need to reach every fucking corner. So
with that being said, we hope you enjoyed this. We hope you come back. And most of all, we hope you keep it spooky. Bye, guys.
Bye.